Okay, so the fun has begun. We're getting it all dug up in the back for our greenhouse and garden, so really excited. So this was a really exciting day to have Kevin show up. This is Kevin Clay, and he does excavating around here in Summerland, and found out that he was actually a friend of my uncle. My uncle was only like 5 years older than me, and so he and Kevin were friends. And so it's I love that about a small town. You run into people that know your family, or went, are related to people that my parents went to school with and things like that. So it's cool about moving back to a town that you were born in. But what Kevin's doing here is he's just peeling back the grass and putting it in a pile, and then that will get moved on over. Now you can see some stakes there, and I actually have 3 along the trees, and that's the line for him to dig out to for where the greenhouse is going to go. And the greenhouse is 24 feet long. It's 13 and a half feet wide at the widest point on the bottom. And I think it's 10 feet in the center. Here you can see he's gotten all the grass peeled back. And now what he's going to do is going to take the grass and put it over where our lower garden is going to be and level that all out. So he's going to take all the dirt from where the future greenhouse is going to be and then put it over on, if we're looking at the picture, over on the right side. And here he's just spreading out this grass. And you can see that tree there, bush, whatever, that was left over from the my future chicken coop, which I pulled out of there. Hoping to get that done this spring, get it built. Don't know if I'll get chickens this year. Just so much to do yet. But he piled all of this up here, and then what I would do is he was working over on the other side digging out. I'd get in here, I'd pull all the big branches out of it so that they weren't in the ground. And the thing that we thought was amazing is the soil looked really, really good. Thought it was going to be a bunch of rocks and gravels, and it wasn't. It was just dirt. Unfortunately, when it dries, it's as hard as concrete. So he's having to really work here to dig it up. But I mean, at first I was so excited. It's like, yay, I've got this great soil. I don't have great soil. And you'll see that in the next video as Mom and I are trying to plant stuff. It's just hard as cement. Oh, and you can see that pot, that flower pot there. The reason the flower pot is there is so that Kevin knows where the water line is. So I took a sprinkler out because I didn't want it there spraying over on the garden, because I'm going to put in drip irrigation everywhere. And so we just left the pot there, and I mean, it's amazing. He would get like an inch from it, never ever hit it. He is so precise. It's amazing. And this was a 3-hour project, and like I filmed the whole thing, but I had to, cut it down to what I have here for this video. But I just found it fascinating out there watching him do this work and level. And you can see the land. You can see, the pile of dirt getting over there, and it's gradually going to level out pretty good. Have to tell you, when I was a kid, I had my own little Tonka toys, I guess you would say they are, that I used to play with. And I find it fascinating. So what's happening too is like right close to the fence, the dirt's getting pushed over, but not against the fence. It goes down, I guess you would say a little bit sharper where the fence line is. Some of the dirt would hit like the very base of it, but we didn't want to put any pressure on the fence, and it would not be good for the fence. So here he's just trying to level out some of it, moving it around. It's just scooping up the dirt that he's pulled out of there. Now, that building in the back there, as I mentioned on future ones, is going to be my potting shed. Right now we've got like, 6-7 inches of snow out there. So I'm waiting for everything to melt so I can get out there and get the potting shed done. I mean, this winter I ended up on and off crutches for like 8-9 weeks. I messed up my knee, and so I didn't get a bunch of stuff done that I wanted to get done. And what he's doing here is we're having a space so that we can actually drive up through the back gate all the way up to our deck in the back, if needed to haul anything or for emergency or whatever. So he's just sort of leveling out what will be our little driveway up this hill. Oh, and you can see that white pipe. He did find some old irrigation pipes. There was just dried dirt and stuff in it. Oh, and there is the root, or part of the root, to the Scotch pine tree that we had taken out of there. And there's a better shot too of the pot that's sitting there. I mean, it's amazing. He is so precise with this thing. It's like his hand is going out and pulling that dirt in, and it's actually the machine. And now if you look at it, the soil looks so nice. It looks so nice and dark, and like I said, we thought we had this great soil, and we don't. So what happens in my greenhouse is I've got garden beds built in there, and then the center, I think it is, 11 inches high, and it's all full of compost. And when you fill it up, it hits that clay type dirt, whatever, and then it goes out in the pathway. And I'll show you in a later video with the greenhouse. I'm going to actually put some garden fabric down and then put some gravel in the pathway between the beds there, just so that I don't have to walk through a puddle after I've watered, that is. Yeah, and there's some more. That's another big chunk of that root that was in there. So what we're doing, or what he's going to do, is he's just going to take all the big roots and then take them outside the fence. So the fence does not go right to our property line. We probably have another 11 feet out there. And later on, or this past fall, I took a big trip, or a big load up to the dump and got rid of all of that stuff. But yeah, I was quite surprised. There really wasn't a whole lot of rocks in there. So this is now where he's bringing, and you can tell, like, he's been working at leveling it out, so he's just bringing in more of the soil and putting it down, and then levels it out for us. And it just makes it usable land, because everything was on a slant, and this just really flattened it out and gave us some good places where to build our garden beds. Now you can really tell how deep it is at the one end. It just, yeah, it had to go quite a ways down. I find it so interesting how they move. I mean, you always see these excavators and people moving their machines right down into a ditch or whatever. I mean, they are very precise. So what he's doing here now is on that, it'd be on my west side of my greenhouse. He's just using it and just making it nice and smooth and just cleaning up that side. It's amazing. I mean, like, so precise. And again, it's so cool how the machine moves. He just reaches out there, puts it down where he thinks it needs to go on that line, and then pulls it off, and it's just, it was so nice and even all along there. It was just unbelievable what he can do with this machine. And then, of course, you know, being careful not to damage the roots of the cedars are there, because those are the cedars that sort of as our noise blocker from the road behind and our view blocker from the nose behind it. And then what Mom and I did this past fall too is behind it we had some tree branches coming through, or cedars. So got back in there and cut them all off. We wanted to make sure and do that before the greenhouse went up because we didn't want it to fall on the greenhouse. I guess it was in the summertime maybe. Yeah, just getting the last few loads and taking them over, and it looks like, just how I'm filming, it looks like he's going like up a hump and back, but it's really not. It's really quite leveled out now. And there you can see with the fence how it's built up higher than the fence, but I mean look how nice and level it is now. We're so excited. He did such a great job. So happy with it. Okay, so you can see the chain here. This is where we're taking the swing out, and so you're going to see me walking towards it in a second, and I went over and unhooked it. Yep. And there goes the swing. Whoa, it's going. One side made it. And it's out the gate. One less job I have to do. And now that I see the cement, don't know what I would have done with that. And there he goes, my white knight for the day, Kevin Clay in Summerland. Excellent, I'm so impressed. I love small towns. You just head down the road in a tractor or a backhoe. And here's what my backyard, level garden space. I'll take a rake, level it down a bit on the side. My future greenhouse spot. I'm so excited. Okay.